Real talk, real talk, real talk, real talk with Tim McGee.
The vehicle involved in the armed robbery of an armed Brinks truck has been located.
Mobile police released this information moments ago. According to police, you remember earlier this week on Tuesday, a Brinks driver stopped at a gas station to get coffee when one man held him down while his partner stole a large sum of money from the truck. At this hour, there is no word on the search for those two suspects.
Welcome to another episode of Real Talk with Tim McGee. The driver of a Brinks armor truck was robbed, I think January 9th, maybe a couple weeks into the New Year's. He was robbed while he was sitting at a Chevron gas station. He had went to go get donuts and coffee and gas, and he was heading back to his truck when two masked assailants came up with handguns and robbed him of the money that he had. And this is common because a lot of people attempt to rob armor trucks. You know, you can go and Google that, and you know that's people are definitely off that, especially down south. And I always said that when I lived down south. I was like, man, down south, their security is lax compared to how it is in Seattle. So no wonder so many armor trucks be getting hit. And you have a lot of brothers, and they, you know, and a lot of times they end up being involved in the case. Well, here's that case again. The 25-year-old driver named Jonah Besser has been arrested for his involvement in that robbery that happened in January. And in addition to that, his 24-year-old brother Isaiah Campbell was one of the masked gunmen, and 22-year-old Sierra Overton was one of the masked gunmen. They thought it was two men, but they figured out they did a lot of dumb things in this. One, they located the silver G35 that apparently the people drove in. Dummies used their own car. That's the first mistake. Also, they discovered that Jonah Besser, the driver, took the largest amount of cash and he put it into the second compartment where he was to make sure that they got that. Altogether, they ran off with $500,000 in cash. So, of course, you know when this type of things happen, especially when you're black, or no matter what color you're, but especially when you're black, they're going to always investigate the driver, because in a lot of cases, the driver is involved in these type of things, especially if no one's shot. I mean, he did shoot. They said that they came up with him with two AR style rifles, got the cash, and as they were fleeing, he took his gun and shot one time, but it was in the direction of the car, not in the direction of the person with the gunman. So I don't know if they hit the car or he shot at the car. So when they look at the camera, they can see that he was shooting, but they was based. So he must, the people who, his brother, whoever was, must not been by the car, because they say he shot at the car and not at the gunman, which means, you know, if he was standing right by the car, how do you know he didn't shoot at the gunman and just didn't miss? So he had to make it look real, but they figured out, it's like, what is he aiming at? He's aiming at the car, but the gunman's right there. So they figured that out, and they went and got a court order to search a storage that was in one of their names, dummies, and come to find out, voila, that's where it was. They found $120,000 and $470, 6 handguns, 2 AR style rifles, and 11 rifles, and a shotgun. Talking about federal, that's a whole lot of firearm. And you robbing a Brinks truck, and you're in on it. So all these guys, as you can imagine, has been charged with multiple charges: taking stolen property, robbery of a Brinks truck, strong arm robbery, possession of illegal weapons, you know, all type of things. And then they said there's more pending charges coming. And all I can say is, Jonah, you're gonna be in the belly of the whale longer than 3 days, brother. I don't know what people be thinking, that desperate, where you try to pull a brazen robbery like that, and then at that you do it sloppily. You can't have no connection. You can't have no cell phone on with you. You can't use your vehicle, and you definitely can't have a storage that's connected to you or anybody that's close to you. That's especially if you know they're involved, because they're gonna check all those sources. They're gonna study all that. They're gonna look at video camera. They're gonna watch y'all coming to the storage with all this stuff. And if you had, they're gonna see all that, man. And so this is basically an open and shut, closed case. They're gonna have to take a plea bargain, and with all those charges, they looking probably at 20 years to 25 years, messing with the feds. I know it's hard times, and I understand, it's a pandemic, and before this pandemic happened, a lot of black people was already in the pandemic. But you can't. What good if you gain the whole world and you lose your soul, man? I done made decisions in my life when I was in the streets, but one thing I didn't do federal robberies, because if you gonna do the crime, then you better do a crime that you can do the time if you get caught. And there are just some crimes that I wasn't willing to commit because the fallout of if I got caught. But I mean, there is cases where, like crimes of passion, like, I've been in prison for murder and 2 counts of attempted murder, but it was self-defense, so I only ended up doing 1 year and 6 months, and other crimes. So I did stupid things like that, but it was crimes of passion in the heat of the moment, in the heat of battle, So you can't control that. But when you have control over the crime, you go out and choose, okay, I'm gonna go rob a bank. Okay, I'm gonna go break in home invasions. I didn't do home invasions. I didn't do stick-up robberies. That wasn't my thing when I was in the streets. I was a hustler. I was a money maker. And I didn't really respect cats that live like that, because I know I was a money maker. So I always know I was a target by people who did that type of stuff, especially my homies. That's how this go. But, so now these guys, their lives is ruined. 25 years old, 22 years old, and 24 years old. There's so many stories out here about this, and I was looking at the amount of robberies they have down south, and I'm like, Houston is the capital of Brinks trucks robbery. They so corrupt, and 9 times out of 10, the drives are in on it, and sometimes they get away. They just had a robbery with a Brinks truck up in I think it's Brooklyn or New York or something like that. The guy got away with $200,000 in cash. And you see him wrestling on the video with the Brinks truck driver, and then he just breaks off. That might turn out to be an inside job too, because that looked too easy and no shots went off. So I won't be surprised if they come and try to say that it was in on it, because that's crazy. But anyways, that's the story with that. So that's the update on that. They caught this guy named Jonah Besser along with 22-year-old Sierra Overton and 24-year-old Isaiah Campbell trying to set it off, and he got cut off instead. But that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for the next episodes. And this is Real Talk with Tim McGee. Like, support, and subscribe, and hit that notification so you can know when I post in the video.
Thanks.